Hi there, it's Dianne Hanks with another lesson for Blondes Prefer Gentlemen, the Art of Manliness. Thank you for joining me today. I have kind of a fun little segment today that was inspired by something that I did recently that I will share with you in just a moment. I just finished reading this book about men, Discovering the Secrets of a Man's Soul, Wild at Heart by John Eldredge. Oh, it's amazing. I totally recommend it. And this little segment, how I'm going to piece it into being a gentleman, I want to talk a little bit first about a quote that I came across by Theodore Roosevelt. I love his quote about the man in the arena. I don't know if you have heard that or not, but you know, a lot of people sit back and they really judge others and they critique, and I'm sure you can imagine having your own YouTube channel where you have an offering such as I have here about all the different comments and judgments that people pass along. And so I was just looking up this quote by Theodore Roosevelt, and I'm going to read that quote and then the other one. And I want you to really, really listen to the message inside of this. It is not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles, or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs, who comes short again and again, because there is no effort with error and shortcoming, but who does actually strive to do the deeds, who knows great enthusiasms, the great devotions, who spends himself in a worthy cause, who at the best knows in the end the triumph of high achievement, and who at the worst, if he fails, at least fails while daring greatly, so that his place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who neither know victory nor defeat. I love that. I love that. Now, here's the part that I wanted to focus on today. This just follows it. It's in the same speech he gave. He continues, "Shame on the man of cultivated taste who permits refinement to develop into fastidiousness that unfits him for doing the rough work of a workaday world." That's powerful. Shame on the man, he says. And so back to the art of manliness. That is the part that I want to focus today on, not so much the gentleman part. The gentleman part will come with a little bit of refinement. I want to talk about the wild part that is focused on here in this book, Wild at Heart. Now, the next part that he continues on, John Eldredge, he says, I just want to read a little excerpt here. Eve was created within the lush beauty of Eden's garden, but Adam, if you'll remember, was created outside the garden in the wilderness. Then he goes on to say, adventure, with all its requisite danger and wildness, is a deeply spiritual longing written into the soul of a man. The masculine heart needs a place where nothing is prefabricated, modular, non-fat, Ziploc, franchise, online, microwavable, where there are no deadlines, cell phones, or committee meetings, where there is room for the soul, where finally the geography around us corresponds to the geography of our heart. Then he goes on to say that all the great prophets in the Bible, Moses, Jacob, Elijah, where did they go? They weren't sitting on a couch. They didn't go to a mall. They went into the wilderness. They went into the wild. And that is where they found God. And so that is the part that I want to talk about today, is about cultivating the need for a man to be wild, and to do it in a way that is in harmony with being true to who you are. Now, just for the record here, I do not believe in the extreme type of stuff that is going on all over the place. Maybe some people will not agree with me, but extreme sports, extreme this, extreme that, putting yourself in unnecessary dangers, I think is a very unmanly thing to do. I think it's very selfish, and I think it's dangerous to a degree that is I don't know. To me, that seems foolish. It doesn't seem manly. What I'm talking about is to truly be in the wild and be wild at one with nature. And so I have a couple things I wanted to share with you. I love to go hiking. I love to go hiking. I try to go at least a couple times a week with my dad. And one time we went, I went alone because he was unable to come, and I had a most amazing experience with a crane. I know in places in the Orient, people will climb mountains to have a similar experience that I had with a crane, and I will never ever be the same. It was absolutely breathtaking, and maybe I'll share that in my more info box, but I'll never be the same. I was within 10 feet of this crane, and he looked at me and I looked at him, and we were both just in awe of each other, and it touched me. It moved me deeply, and I'm so grateful for having that experience, but I couldn't have had it if I was at home. I had to get out in the wild for it. I also saw a couple of things that I want to share with you. I picked up from my couple little hikes I went on. This one I got a couple weeks ago. It's a little pine cone. And there was something very special about this particular pine cone. I don't know if you can see it or not, but on the edges, they have this amazing like little pattern. They look like little lips. You see that? Even in black and white? I just was like, oh my gosh, the marvels of creation have just bowled me over. And then yesterday, I picked up these. They're little seed pods. And they just fascinated me. They just had me just marvel at all the intricacies of creation. Just amazing. And so I guess that's my challenge, is to choose the wilderness, choose to go outside and get off the couch, get out in nature and really fuel your soul, because that is the deep longing of a man, is to be wild and stuff. So thank you for joining me on this little lesson about blondes preferring gentlemen, the art of manliness. It is timeless. Thank you for joining me. I'm Dianne Hanks. I certainly don't want to tame that wild part from a man. You know, there is one other thing that I would like to add real quickly. I remember going out with somebody who had to go to the bathroom, and we were like 10 feet from a bathroom, and he went outside instead of the bathroom. And I just went, that is so uncool. That is so unmanly. That is so uncivilized. It's actually gross. I mean, we're not outside camping or doing whatever. And so there's a little distinction about, when you're in the wilderness versus when you're, be a gentleman when the place is right. That's the part of being a guy. You get to learn what's the fun part about it. So